What's going on, y'all? So I'm making this video to tell a quick story. Through the bike nights and everything else, everything we've been doing, I've been getting a lot of questions. How did all this come about? It seems like it came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Palm Coast has a bike night. So I want to take some time, record this video, and give the full story, the back end story, everything that happened to get us to where we are today. Before we understand today, we have to understand where everything came from. So I typically don't give my background, but this time I will. So my name is David. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. I moved to the United States when I was 11, lived in New York most of my life, and then moved to Florida in 2007. While I was in New York, one of my major things I was doing, I was a DJ. I've done crazy amount of events in New York, all the hottest clubs, all the A-listers, celebrity events, from Anna Wintour, chief editor of Vogue magazine, to Diddy, to you name it. Everybody on Fifth Avenue, we did those events. When I moved to Florida, I got a residency out at Cane at the Cove at the Atlantis in Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas. And I pretty much lived there for 18 months. Back and forth a lot, but I spent almost 18 months there. And that's where a lot of networking happened. And I got to meet other people and work with them. Other people I DJ'd for was like Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, did some invitationals for him. I got to meet up and become the official DJ of Marquis Jet, which later on ended up going to NetJets, which was the parent company. So with all that, I learned a lot from just being in that environment. While I was doing that, I also had a successful financial services company, did life insurance, retirement, stuff like that. Things I've learned and the people that I met along the way, from the Bill Gates to the Warren Buffetts, and getting mentorship from them, I've learned a lot in life, how to live versus how to make a living. And when you learn from the super wealthy, the secrets are told. And once you understand that life is worth living, not just making a living, everything changes. So with that being said, what they taught me is that networking is everything. It's definitely what you know, but it's a lot more who you know. So building relationships was my number one thing I had to learn, and they taught me so much about that. It's always get to know the person who's gonna create something or develop something or is in charge of something, and show them how you can help them, bring value to it and everything else. So learning all that, having the companies I've had, whether it's the financial services, the construction company, the heavy equipment company, all of it combined taught me a lot. And that's what I use today in everything that I do. Everything that I've been through, I didn't do by myself. I got ridiculous amount of help. The help from mentorship, just talking to somebody, feeling like I'm always failing, until I learned that, you only win about 33% of the time. The rest of the time, you're gonna fail. But that's when you learn. That's when you become better. That's when you go back to the charts, and you're like, all right, that's where I messed up. And you fix it. You become better. So taking everything I've learned there helped me in every aspect of my careers that I had, all the companies I've owned, which then landed me, the NetJet gigs. I've been doing crazy amount of events, like major sporting events, like PGA Masters for the last 13 years, Super Bowl events for the last 13 years. I've shared the stage with incredibly big artists, from Maroon 5 to U2 to Katy Perry, Lenny Kravitz, like the list goes on and on. So in that time, I was, rock star title. Traveled the world a bunch. I'm the only one besides a few other people that I know that actually filled their entire passport out. There was no place else to stamp my passport. I had to get another one. That was one of my bucket list things. So I achieved that probably about 2008. So, yeah, so about 13 years ago is when I completed that. The crazy thing about it all is that the more you travel, the more different people you speak to, the more your mind opens up and you understand life in general, right? So we can have different conversations with different people on different levels, and that's what's allowing me to succeed in everything that I do. Bringing it into the motorcycle world, I haven't rode a motorcycle in 21 years almost, and I didn't ride for long. When I was a kid in New York, here and there, whatever. I got back into the motorcycle world when I shut everything down. I shut two of my companies down right when COVID started because nothing was really working. Spent a lot of time just doing other things, trying to figure out what to do, because when you're busy all the time and then you have so much time in your hands, you don't know what to do. So it was August of 2020 when I picked up the first motorcycle, which is this one. Didn't look anything like the Skittles today, but I picked it up from one of my really good friends, Adrian. You probably see him on the Crowd Movers as DJ Wizard. Dear friend of mine, really good guy. Went out to Texas, picked up a couple bikes, came back with it. I started riding here and there, so I didn't really start riding and register this bike till November of 2020. Fast forward a little bit into 2021, I did my first track day March of 2021. End of March, it was March 29th. Right before that, this is how the whole group thing started. A bunch of you guys know Daniel. At that time, he had a Ninja 400. So I was in the shop, in my garage, at the apartment I was living at that time, and I was working on Candy Cane. When I picked up Candy Cane from, it used to be actually DJ Wizard's bike, it was lowered, it was stretched, and I was going to take it to the track, so I had to bring it back to stock height, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I was working on my bike, and Daniel was delivering a pizza for Domino's, and he heard me revving the bike, and he pulled up. He's like, hey man, I ride too, we should ride together. Up until that point, I haven't done any rides with anyone. It was just me, just cruising around town, just like most of you guys. When you get a bike, you don't really know who to ride with, how they ride, where to find rides and all that stuff. So March 24th, I think it was the first post we did on what's now the Flagler Motor Group Facebook page. And that night, we tried to get more riders out. One person showed up, so it was me, Daniel, and Brian. Just hanging out, pretty much doing nothing. And we always thought, like, man, like Palm Coast isn't that big, it doesn't have that many sport bikes. We should try and get everybody together, it shouldn't be that hard. It took a while before we gained traction. When we joined the page at that time, it was called Palm Coast Sport Bike Riders, created by Corey. When we joined at that time, it had maybe 50, possibly 60 members on there. And it seemed like the page had been dormant for a long time. Like, there wasn't much happening. There was a couple other pages as well, but we didn't really get involved with those. So as time went on, we started riding, and then other people started gaining traction on the page as well. Ross Bailey was another one, and then who came in next? Z Lewis. She showed up one day for a ride, and if you know Z, she's a networker. She knows a bunch of people. She introduced us to Lily King, who has the black CBR 1000 now. So it was just literally like 4 or 5 of us just doing rides almost every day. And the more you ride, you start to meet other people. So we started, growing more and more and more and posting more onto the Facebook page. And everybody we met, we kept on adding to the page. So somehow or the other, it became kind of like almost my responsibility to keep posting rides. And, when I posted, a bunch of people would show up. So I kept on just doing that, kind of took that role on as, the face of the group rides. When all that happened, Jimmy came in, and then I think that was like later on, like May or June. At that point, the ride started getting bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, it was like an explosion of sport bikes in Palm Coast, area. We had Bunnell, we had Palm Coast, we had some other areas in Ormond. But all of a sudden now we have 15, 20 bikes riding together when, a few weeks before it was only 3. Which is a great thing, right? We're trying to grow the community. So when we're not riding, like I'll be hanging out with Daniel, and I'm like, man, it'll be cool if we can like pull everybody together for an event. Like, let's do something together. One thing about me, I love doing events. I love bringing people together. I love helping people. That's my thing. Like, if I can help you out in any way, I will. Sometimes you don't even have to ask. I'll just do it. That's me paying back for everyone who helped me in the past to become successful. It's just in my DNA now. Later on, we met. Z's brother Jay introduced me to Eric, who you guys know is like the wizard when it comes to bike suspensions. So again, the group started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We started doing more rides. After my first track day in March 29th, 2020, I had another group down in Daytona. I was kind of working with as my coaches. That first track that didn't turn out too good. This one right here took a pretty good hit, doing 70-something miles an hour. Turn 8 into turn 9 into Jennings, crashed it. Whole front end was pretty much gone. But brought it back in less than a day. The next day I was out riding again, and it was bike week, the week before that, I believe. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, all these bikes that come through Florida, like, we gotta do something. We gotta do something. Like, there's a huge network. Everyone is looking for something to do that's like-minded with 2 wheels, right? Whether it's a sport bike, a cruiser, Grom, dirt bike, whatever it is, right? We enjoy the same thrill to a certain degree. So after track day, like, I've promoted the heck out of just going to track day. What I learned in, 1.5 sessions was a lot. It doesn't sound like much, but it was a lot. I came back home, practiced a whole bunch, started sharing it with other people. Last month, which is August 7th and 8th, we went back to the track because I met a really, really, really good, really awesome gentleman. His name is Eric Cinnamon. Amazing coach, amazing person. We're kind of on the same wavelength, just love helping people, just love being around the culture of it. So I went to that track day. It was a 2-day track day. And it was one of my fears I had to get over, like turn 8 to turn 9. I was a little bit shaky about it. I was like, you know what? I got to face this demon. Let's see what's going to happen. So, and I tried bringing as many people as I can. I was able to get one person. Christina came up with us, and she's only been riding for about 3-4 months at that time. And in 2 days, everything changed. Like, her riding ability skyrocketed from where she was to where she is now. So with all that, I understood that, proper training can make a huge difference. So I developed what's now the moto clinic, where I bring in, either I'm the instructor or I bring in Eric Cinnamon. Next week we have Tim. We have people who are amateur and professional racers coming in to share information about what it is we're doing. A couple of months back, I put on the page, if we hit 200 members, Corey came up with the idea he wanted to do a cookout. Before the cookout happened, we were over 300 members on the page. We're at 350 something right now. And it just let us know that everyone has this interest, right? Everyone has this interest of being around motorcycles, being around people who ride, people who work on them, people who modify them, just the whole culture altogether. During that time, my networking part of it was getting with Woodies, putting on the event. When I came up with the idea of doing a bike night, I didn't think it was going to work at all. Everyone who showed up the first time, I want to say it was July 13th. It was the first bike night. It was at Hooligans in Palm Coast. And everyone who showed up was seriously impressed. Like, everyone was like, oh, I thought it was going to be like 7 or 8 bikes. We had 27, 28 bikes, somewhere in that area. Which a few months prior to, it was a pipe dream, right? We can only get like 4 or 5 people riding. Then it got to 15. But now today, last week we had close to, if not over 100 bikes at the bike night at Woody's, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. At 8:05, there was 80 something bikes in the parking lot. The event starts at 8 o'clock. So obviously we're doing something right. We definitely appreciate the support from all the other counties, You know, we got St. Augustine, Jacksonville coming down. We got Daytona, DeLand, Orlando coming in. And part of the networking thing that I try to do with everyone is repay that debt. You know, repay the support that you show us. So we always ride out to other events. Me and a couple other people, it always changes who rides to these events. But the footwork behind it is you got to be around everything to promote it, right? There's only so much we could do online. As you see, there's 350 people on the page, but we can't even get 50 people together to do a ride. Just because you're interested to see what's going on doesn't mean that people are actually riding. So whether it's Orlando, Ace Cafe, Jacksonville, VCMR down in Deltona, awesome group there as well. You know, we support everybody. You know, we show the love, we come out, we try to get huge numbers out to show that support, because all the event coordinators who do this, they understand the work that goes behind all of it. So when people show up, you're like, wow, it's kind of worth it. This could have shut down in week 3 when we had pretty much 2 weeks of rain on Tuesday night. And it was only like 9, maybe 10 motorcycles out in the parking lot just hanging out. It was still a good time. Definitely a good time. But the part of being consistent, not giving up, having that vision of what I want to see in that parking lot never deterred me. It was always, hey, this is going to be huge. Incredibly, incredibly huge. And here we are today with over 100 bikes in the parking lot, and I can't thank all of you on the page who shared it, who, like the Amanda Rose, who's always taking pictures. That means a lot. It helps it grow. People who keep inviting other people. You know, when Elle, everybody knows Elle, she came through, Z Lewis as well. It just brings this family network together, right? We're not just riding buddies anymore. Like, a lot of us are dear friends. You know, we meet people that we have never met before or will never meet because of this one common thread of motorcycles. So this whole video is kind of understand a little bit that there's a lot of work that goes into this, and every little bit that everyone contributed is super, super appreciated. So to all the guys who take the trek down from Jacksonville, it's a long ride, we definitely appreciate that. From the guys who come up from Orlando, DeLand, Daytona, super appreciate it. It's one of those things where it's a trek, right? It's a long ride. It's a fun ride, but the support that you bring into this town that really needs something like this, and everyone says it, you know, why it took so long to get something here in Palm Coast. And at the cookout the other day, Chris asked that question. Why did it take so long? And I said, I just arrived. I've been living here in Palm Coast for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years now. But the first few years I wasn't into motorcycles, plus I was traveling a lot. But now that I'm here, I'm putting as much energy and effort behind this. So whether it's the motor clinic, help coordinate for track days, we got the track suit, group buy that we're doing, anything we can help with. I work on motorcycles. If you guys need help with that, you know, I got you. We do late night, you know, it's like after 10 p.m. we go out and we do practice drills. It's been helping a lot of riders. The one thing that I push all the time, we have to be careful. You know, a couple weeks ago, we had a major loss. You know, we lost Splash. That hit us all hard. And the love that came together to support, to keep his name alive, that was incredible. That was super, super incredible. It says a lot for what we do together. This video is not to take credit away from anybody. Actually, it's to give so much credit to everyone. I know what I put into this. My life is set up in such a way that I can actually afford the time. Like, I don't have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 9 to 5. I have 2 kids, they're grown, they're 19, my son's about to be 21. And they support this 100%. You know? So I do have a certain lot a certain amount of time, not a tremendous amount, but I could put as much as I can into this. I still have other businesses I run, still have a family to support. I got a bunch of friends who always counted on me. But this what we're doing right here, this family, there's a lot to say about it. There's a lot to say about it. And just like any family, we're gonna have, disagreements, fallouts, whatever. But I hope the love is there, that we all support each other in this. The other question I got was how the whole record racing thing came about. It was just literally like something I came up with for my first track day. Malcolm, who's from the UK, he was my first coach. He's like, you should put a couple stickers on your bike. He's like, I don't know, just make it fun. And I was like, cool. One thing I'm kind of known for, whatever I'm doing, I turn it into an LLC, turn it into a business, so I can have funding to help everything else. I have not profited one penny from anything I've been doing with the group. So, and I've been given a lot. So, going from, rock star to everything else, becoming just like your regular everyday person, doing this together with you, it's the most humbling thing I've done in a long time, and I love doing it every single day. All the rides that we have, one of the, I mentioned his name before, Eric Cinnamon, awesome guys, always invite me for rides. Now he rides up, he's been here a few times already, all the way from Port Orange, which is, it's a trek to come up. But having people like that around just lets us know that we're doing something, and it means a lot when everybody else supports it. We have something now that I'd like to preserve. This is something I've watched grown, put a lot of time, energy, and effort into. And I just definitely want to shout out Corey for having a platform created that we could have jumped on and, create this network. If it didn't exist, obviously we would have created one. But it was already there. Why not improve on it and, build more from it? So everyone who's watching this, know that you're appreciated. If there's anything I can do personally for you, or the group can do for you, let us know. I will continue to push track days like proper training, the motor clinic. I'm going to keep doing that every Sunday, every other week. Only because I know if I can help one person, I don't care if one person shows up or 1,000 people show up, if I can help one person get home safely, it's 100% worth it. Everything that we do is absolutely at no cost. It's free. Bike nights are free. Motor clinics are free. Just show up. Just show up. Sometimes you just got to put our egos to the side and say, hey, you know what? This is for the greater good. This is for the community. We're building something. We're building something together. So there's going to be a few changes in bike night. I'm making a couple of changes here and there as the time changes and it starts getting darker earlier. Probably going to start moving it from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m. Just a heads up. Another thing, if there's any issues with bike night, come see me. There's a lot I do behind the scenes to make this happen, right? There's a lot of invites that's happening. So if there's any concern, anything whatsoever, come see me. We'll take care of it. Make sure everyone is safe, everyone's having a good time, all that good stuff. We're doing this together. It's always a family thing, right? I want you to get home to your family. I want you to bring your family out so they can understand what's going on. One of the biggest fear I can imagine is your family, when you leave the house on your bike, your family's like, is he gonna come back? Or is she gonna come back? So, we wanna make sure everyone is always well taken care of. The number of female riders is increasing steadily, and I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, because believe it or not, some of the female riders, they don't carry that ego that male riders carry, and it's so much easier for them to learn and excel and become better riders. It's just watching the process happen. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's like graduation almost, right? Seeing them all growing up now in a couple months. It's really good to see. Now, there's parents who have their kids that ride with them. That's just so awesome. So awesome. So I hope you guys kind of understand the back end story of how all this came about. I do take a lot of ownership in Bike Night and Motor Clinic. Those are the only two things. Everything else, I'm really a supporter, not really an organizer. Group rides and stuff like that, if I post it, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm not going to post something and then not show up. Most of the time, I will be on time. Every once in a while, I might run late here and there, maybe by a couple of minutes. But if I'm not going to make a ride, just keep looking at the event. And either I cancel the ride because of weather, or that's really the only reason, if it's storming, just to be safe out there. If you guys need any contact information, whether it's for tuning the bike from Chris, or going to a track day with Eric Cinnamon, or getting a tracksuit from MotoGem, let me know. This is what we're doing together. I teamed up with TST Industries now, and there's a promo code. If you use Rekka Racing, you can get 10% off. As more and more sales channel through that promo code, it's going to grow bigger to a 20%, 15 to 20 to 25% discount for the group. So as much as I can help the group financially, because this is an expensive hobby, sport, whatever you want to call it, it's super expensive. So if we can save money doing it, why not? Why not? And yes, I will forever be, that one person who's always going to talk to you about gear, your helmet, your jacket, your gloves, your riding pants, riding boots, making sure your bike is set up in a certain way. Let's check maintenance on it. Eric can tell you, both Erics, Cinnamon and Pomco's Eric, either your suspension needs to be set up, or you just talk to Eric Cinnamon about track day. Even if you're considering it, just come out. It's not what you think it is. It's not going fast and trying to race somebody. It's learning a lot in a little bit of time. I didn't realize how horrible I was riding until I got proper coaching. How crazy is that, right? So I'm blown away that in 2 months, where Bike Night started to where it is, and in about 6 months from the first time I met Daniel in my garage, none of this existed. We've come a long way. And I want to congratulate everyone, congratulate every single person for being a part of this. Couldn't do it without you. That's my story.